Revelation 3421. From the 29th of January 1945. God's intervention. Plan from eternity. Through world events the spiritual low shall be remedied and the great adversity shall contribute towards drawing closer to God. Thus earthly events have the purpose of leading people to their actual destiny, of educating them for the actual life one day in the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, the entire event corresponds to the divine plan of eternity, even though nothing will ever meet God's approval, which is the fault of human will, because it is obviously his adversary's work. Nevertheless, he also includes this work in his eternal plan of salvation. He lets it happen, as it were as a prelude to all upheavals in the last days. There can only be an improvement for people if they change fundamentally, that is, if they strive for a higher state of maturity. And if the individual's fate or the entire events in the world have entered this higher degree of maturity of the soul, then it has not been without success. And then even God's adversary has indirectly contributed to God receiving his sheep back, to them joining him and being cared for by himself. And the soul is no longer lost without salvation. And thus everything in the entire universe serves and is subject to his eternal will. Thus even the forces of darkness are subject to God. And consequently God himself determines the course of everything that takes place in the universe, regardless of whether it has good or evil will as its cause. God is just, he will never praise a bad thought or a bad deed, but he allows them to be carried out so that fellow human beings shall recognize that they are not God-willed, that they feel the effect of such thoughts or deeds in order to refrain from them of their own free will. But he will constantly draw people's attention to the injustice, and especially in such a way that he will not let people's bad plans succeed. And so he also now again directs a plan recognizable through human hatred and will to destroy towards a completely different end than people reckon. But first he shows the depravity of those, so that people will reflect, so that they will make an effort to change, so that the spiritual low will be remedied and people will come closer to God, who is to be their only goal on earth. For although free will is left to them, God nevertheless intervenes when this free will is abused and people thereby come into spiritual danger. And such an intervention by God will also now steer world events into a different direction, because peoples will let it become an injustice which clearly marks their depravity. Yet the adversity on earth will not become less, for it is necessary since people will not change and have to be brought into situations where they should and can seek contact with God so that their souls will be rescued from utmost spiritual hardship. For it is the time of the end which should still be used before it is too late. Amen.